Hey everyone, welcome to another video about my reading journal. I just wanted to start off and say I am so grateful for everyone's kind comments on my last video. I was a little floored at how many views my first video got on my journal, and I'm just so happy to see how kind everyone was. It really did mean a lot to me. And I'm really excited to continue sharing my reading journal. It's brought me a lot of joy, and I had a lot of fun updating it after the holidays. So without much further ado, I just wanted to share some updates, do a wrap up of my reading from December, and also just share how the journal has been changed. So you can also see the journal is getting a little bit chunky as we go on. So that has been a lot of fun to see that develop. And only updates at the beginning, which I guess will be a little bit of spoilers, but I've been able to fill in some of my books on my bookshelf. I have loved the way that this has looked. I've been really happy with just filling out the different colors. It really satisfies a part of me to, I don't know, make this as specific as possible. Like adding a hint of romantasy onto the familiar felt really correct. But yeah, I've been loving how this has come out. So I've read, since I filmed this, This Is How You Lose the Time War, which I labeled as sci-fi and romance. Then I read The Familiar, which fantasy, historical, and a little romantasy in there. We also have Bury Your Gaze, which I put as horror and sci-fi. Then I believe that this was Legends and Lattes, which was fantasy romance. We also have my Hercule Poirot mystery. I read Hercule Poirot's Christmas, so I labeled that as mystery and historical. And the last one was fantasy and contemporary, which was The Hidden Oracle by Rick Riordan in the Trials of Apollo series. There haven't been any major updates here. I have picked a few of these to read for January, so I'm excited about that, but nothing massive happened here. And then the only other things that I have on here is I have some updates. So I did get my library card sorted. Woo! So I now have my library card is updated, it's renewed, it's all ready to go. I already have a couple books, ebooks on there, a couple holds ready. So I am excited to have colored in that frame. And then as far as my bingo, I really need to come up with like a bookmark, I think. I'm gonna have grid spacing on one side and maybe my bingo reads on the other. But I did fill in a couple of the bingos. So time travel I did for This Is How You Lose the Time War, and then includes class fiction. I labeled that as The Familiar when I read that, because there's a lot about poverty, classism, and rising out of your station and the hunger for that. Sorry, you might hear meowing in the background. It's my cat. That's Ivy. Books read, we can see all the books that I've already talked about here. And I did label how I read some of them. So Clockwork Angel was my only ebook one that I read. And then I have, I did audio for quite a few of these, like This Is How You Lose the Time War, although I'm excited to read that as like an ebook or physical. The Familiar was also an audio. Bury Your Gaze was also audio, but I do have a physical copy of that book. And then The Hidden Oracle, I also listened to the audio of. I love Robbie, I think it's Damon or Draymond, I can't remember, but I love Robbie's narration for Apollo. It's so good. So I highly recommend that audiobook. And then Legends and Lattes and Hercule Poirot's Christmas, I read both ebook and audio, though mostly ebook for those, but that felt the most appropriate. No major updates to the series tracker, except I did fill in my kind of reread of The Hidden Oracle. We do have the Lightfall Readathon. I have read all of these books, though I didn't read them in the specific time frame for Lightfall. I just continued to read them. I have read all of these, and I'm in the middle, or kind of close to the end of Blood Like Magic. So I think I've done a pretty good job on that. And then I think it would be fun to include a wrap up here as well. So this is my winter page. I'm probably going to have more decoration or details of what I've read over all 3 months of winter, which for us in the Northern Hemisphere, I consider December, January, and February. So a lot has not been written in yet on these pages because I'm gonna probably do that at the end. And then I just have this gorgeous sticker from Marigona Sully Art, of course. And I have a couple of, I used some stamps from the notebook therapy sets that I have, some snowflake stickers from Marigona Sully, and I used some of the whimsical botanical, I think, set from Notebook Therapy for this green washi, and I do really like how the green washi looks with all these blues and kind of creams and browns. I think I collaged a little too close to the sun with this one. I think it's a little busy. The sticker already had a lot going on, so I think I just added a little too much, but I do overall think that this looks fine. So again, I have this blank right now, but I'll be filling out more as winter happens. And then the next spreads I have are for the Infernal Devices trilogy. This is my first time reading Cassandra Clare for the most part. I think I've read the Mortal Instruments, but I haven't read the whole series. Only read the first one. And I read Clockwork Angel for the first time, and I am really loving it so far. I also love how the spread came out. I think I'll have more of a series wrap up on this left side after I finish it. But I really love this washi. It's from the Lunar Mystery set from Notebook Therapy. It's gorgeous. I'm obsessed. I was kind of nervous about putting it sideways. I didn't know if it would look weird because the clouds are, I don't know, everything was a little off, but I think it actually looks really nice on this direction. And I love this burnt washi tape over here. I used some stickers from the set as well. And then for this paper and this music notes, that's just some paper I got from Michael's, but I think you could easily find some at a local craft store that's kind of similar. I really liked Clockwork Angel. It was a really good start to the series. Quick disclaimer, don't read anything on these pages if you don't want spoilers. I won't say spoilers, but I wouldn't read this if you haven't read these books. So I made this kind of Dutch door layout for the Infernal Devices series, and then as I read the other two books in the trilogy, I will put my reviews here. So I'm really happy with how this came out. I love the music sheets for one of the characters, Jem. So I had a great time. I gave it 4 stars. I really, really liked it. I'm still trying to figure out my rating system. I kind of go on vibes, but I'm considering using a different one in the future, but we shall see. Then my next spread is just some more reviews. So I also read The Familiar. I really love this dark washi tape. I felt it was fun. This is from the Midsummer Nights washi tape set from Notebook Therapy. Same for the Summer Solstice over here. I tried to keep it kind of consistent. And I also printed off some stickers or some art from Canva and printed off on sticker paper. So I did that with the pomegranates, which is a common symbology in The Familiar. So I wanted to include that here. And my review as well. I liked The Familiar quite a bit. It was pretty good. I liked in reading a standalone from Leigh Bardugo. It's not my favorite book by her, but I thought it was a pretty good book. The narration was decent, and I had a good time listening to it over a few days. So it was nice. I did like it overall. It just wasn't my favorite book, but I did like a lot of the, I don't know, Leigh Bardugo is so good at writing settings and worlds, and so I felt like I was easily thrown into the setting of this world, this kind of gilded Spanish age, and I thought that was a really cool setting. So I did really like that about the book, and the magic was interesting, but I have a hard time with wishy-washy magic at times. So I was I wanted a little bit more from the magic and fantasy aspect, but that's fair. And then on the right, I have some other reviews. So I really liked the first book in the Trials of Apollo series. That's no surprise. I love Rick Riordan. I love Percy Jackson. So this was not a shocker. And I overall really, really loved the audiobook as well. So I'm excited to keep reading that. And then I also read Legends and Latte. This was probably, Legends and Lattes. This is probably my most anticipated read for Lightfall. I was really excited to read it, and I think it's a really well-written book, but I just don't know if it's for me. I don't know if I'm like not a cozy fantasy person, or cozy books really aren't my thing. We shall see. I just had a hard time with how many like food and drink descriptions there were in this book, and how much of the book was, in my personal opinion, spent like having people who have never tried coffee try coffee and go, wow. I just had a really hard time with how repetitive that felt, and I wish some of that time went back to character development, because I actually found all the characters like really interesting. I actually thought the stakes of the book were really nice. I thought that they made sense for the story. I thought that the plot was good and I liked the characters, so it still got like 3.5 stars for me. I just wish I got more out of the characters and their relationships, and that felt a little, I don't know if undercooked is the right way for me, but I don't know. I was really looking forward to it, and maybe I was a little disappointed, so it was just mismatched expectations. So, but it's still, I think, a really well-written book. I liked the writing tone, but I just had a hard time with the amount of like food descriptions. And then I also read Hercule Poirot's Christmas, which was kind of like my Agatha Christie read of this season, and I liked it. There were some, questionable descriptions of characters from different countries, which I always find in older books. And some of those comments are made by characters who are very unlikable, which I do like to distinguish from how the author describes them, but at times I found some of the descriptions of the Spanish character in this book were a little dehumanizing at times, so I didn't love that. I may lower my star rating based on that, but I overall liked the mystery, but it doesn't come without its caveats, as many classics do. Moving on, I also read a few more books. So I have Bury Your Gaze and This Is How You Lose the Time War. I actually really like how this spread came out. I used some from the Moonlit Alchemy set from Notebook Therapy, and then I also have the witch stickers from Marigona Sully Art. Very cute. And at first I didn't have this kind of ripped washi tape at the bottom, and I felt like it was missing something, so I'm glad I added that because I do think it pulled the spread together. And I just try to do a vertical layout because I haven't tried reviewing novels. It was really kind of thin, so a little hard to write my review in. And I also felt like I maybe had too much room to write my reviews, but overall I really loved both of these books, and I'm also enjoying Blood Like Magic so far quite a bit. So Bury Your Gaze was such an unexpected love for me, which is probably why I have it rated as high as I do. I was just really pleasantly surprised by how much I enjoyed this book. The audiobook was really good. I really liked the writing style. I thought that the book overall was really well paced, maybe a little long in the middle section, but I felt like overall it was just, I don't know, I just kind of flew through it. I was able to listen to it when I was literally on no sleep on the airplane. I just wanted to listen to this audiobook, so I think that's also a testament to how much I liked it. And as someone who works in tech, it was really refreshing to read something that critiqued AI and algorithms, something that I found really, it's a topic that I found really draining over this last 2 years, and I've become a little cynical. So I think I needed this book. When a book just comes into your life and you're like, wow, I think I really just needed to read this with a little bit of hope in it, and it's extremely queer and hopeful, but it was also very tense, and I was spooked at times, so it really lived up to the hype, and I really would love to read another one of Chuck Tingle's books. I had never heard of Chuck Tingle. My boyfriend was like, didn't he write all those silly romances? And I had no idea what he was talking about, but Chuck Tingle is an internet icon. I was just excited to read Bury Your Gaze. This was actually recommended at the local bookstore, and I was like, yeah, sure, that looks cool. So, I don't know, it was really pleasant to have all my friends go like, oh yeah, Chuck Tingle. And I was like, what? Anyways, it's a great book. I want to read Camp Damascus next. That was his debut. And I also have a quote from Bury Your Gaze over here. Tragedy is inevitable. Fortunately, so is joy. That's how I felt reading that book, and I really loved it. I also really loved This Is How You Lose the Time War. The audiobook was amazing, and I just had a great time listening to it. It was a short book, it's a novella, and I really do want to reread it in a physical or ebook format, so that way I can just kind of annotate and take in all the beautiful prose in this novel. I don't know, there's something very, it just sucked me in. I was really drawn to the characters, and I was interested about the world building, but it didn't, it wasn't about, the sci-fi so much as it was the characters. But I loved the background kind of world building that happened in that book, and I really loved it. It was highly recommended. So I was excited to read it, and I'm really glad that I did, and excited to reread it. So that's this review spread. My next spread is my Hercule Poirot reading list. I cannot pronounce his name. I'm so bad at pronouncing things. But I'm excited to have this. I enjoy reading these mysteries. They're very pulpy. I love Agatha Christie's writing. It's just, I don't know, I feel like I'm watching a movie when I'm reading her writing. It's so brief and succinct, and I don't know, visceral. It's really good. There's a reason she's, super popular. Crazy, right? But overall, I'm really happy with how this spread came out. I've been trying to think as I was going throughout these spreads in my novel, in my reading journal, I wanted them to flow from one to the next. Like, this has a lot of blacks and tans, and then this one still has that. Then we move on and has some purple to match the covers, but still a lot of tan. So I wanted to keep it kind of in that tan brown kind of space, but I want each spread to feel a little different. So I am really happy how it's flowing and how it all looks together. But some of the things I have on the spread are, I have some of the dark academia shells from Maragona Sully Art, some of the stickers from that as well. I have her Gloomy Winter sticker, which that feels so Agatha Christie to me, just like all these brownstone buildings, and it's snowing outside. It just felt right. I also have some washi tape from, I think this is from the Sunlit Mystery. It's the Sunlit washi tape set. I'll put the name up. And then also the Dried Wildflowers washi tape set, this kind of like lacy one. I really liked that together. And then these papers I got from Michaels. So I got like this map paper from Michaels, and also the same music note one as well. I really like the map paper for Agatha Christie. I feel like there's a lot of travel in her novels. So I thought it felt really well, and I got to mark one off. So this is the reading order from her website, and I just kind of copied it down. I did some dot markers down the middle to denote all of them, and I'll fill them in with black as I read them. So that's that reading list. And then next we have my early winter or December wrap up. So I'm really happy with how this came out. I tried to pare down my collage. So it's, or pare down my collage, not parry down. Pare down my collage so it was a little bit, more minimal and not so overwhelming. This is, of course, is a sticker from Maragona Sully Art. I was so excited to use this for Christmas. I didn't have a ton of really great washi tape that was very Christmassy to pair with this, but I actually like how this kind of tan washi tape from the Dried Wildflowers set looks. It has some hints of greens or like kind of deep plums or reds, so I think it pairs well with the red and the green in these stickers. Other things we have, just some ripped paper, some from the Whimsical Botanical set. That's also where this green washi tape comes from, and also these little stickers as well. I really like these stickers. I like the way that one looks quite a bit. I included some more Maragona Sully Art stickers up here, and then I drew some vintage frames with just my hands and some reference from Pinterest, and I put in the names of the books that I read on the left. And then on the inside, we have the wrap up. So I drew out a little December calendar and marked out when I read specific books. You can see it took me a long time to read a Clockwork Angel, because I was only reading on my ebook and I was just kind of reading it casually. And then I started with Lightfall, started right there. So that's when I started Legends and Latte. I finished up Clockwork Angel. I read This Is How You Lose the Time War and The Hidden Oracle in like 2 days. The Familiar, I read over that next week. And then as soon as I finished that, I read Bury Your Gaze, and I started Hercule Poirot's Christmas as well there. And then it took me a while to get through Legends and Latte. I was having a hard time. I was mostly reading on my ebook, and then I had to get the audiobook to, I don't know, just kind of get through it at a certain point. And then on the right, I have my favorite book, which I picked as Bury Your Gaze, though it was close with This Is How You Lose the Time War. I think I just was really, really surprised by how much I liked Bury Your Gaze, and that's kind of the X factor for me. Longest was Clockwork Angel, and shortest was This Is How You Lose the Time War. I read 7 books, and it was 2,372 pages, though I'm only including page count here, not like hours, because I don't really want to calculate that. I use Storygraph, so it's pretty easy for me to get these stats. But I also have a breakdown of my different genres. So we were kind of all over the place. We had a lot of fantasy, had some historical and romance, mystery, horror, and sci-fi. I listened to the audio for majority of them, though some are mixed. And then I bought quite a few of them, but I also owned quite a few books as well, and I borrowed one of them. I borrowed This Is How You Lose the Time War with Spotify. So that was nice. And I think that's pretty much my wrap up. So from here, we'll have January kind of pages and stats, but I love the way this came out. I'm really happy with my winter pages especially. So let's do a final flip through of all of the new pages. So that is my update for December, and I'm excited to work on my January spreads. I already have some ideas and stickers, and I've been reading a little bit too, so that's been fun, and I will keep you updated on the progress. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye!